Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Wednesday, August 4th. This is Africa 54.
The United Nations sounds the alarm on Tigray child malnutrition. A closer look at Nigeria's housing shortage and who's profiting. And how a Tunisian startup is giving traditional job recruiting firms a run for their money.
The United Nations Children's Agency says that more than 100,000 children in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray could suffer life-threatening malnutrition in the next 12 months, a tenfold increase to normal numbers. Soraya Ali has the details.
More than 100,000 children in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region could suffer life-threatening malnutrition in the next 12 months. That's according to the United Nations Children's Agency, who says they're about to run out of the formula used to treat 4,000 severely malnourished children every month. UNICEF spokesperson Marixi Mercado at a news conference Friday.
As UNICEF reaches areas of Tigray that were inaccessible in past months due to insecurity, our worst fears about the health and well-being of children in that conflicted region of northern Ethiopia are being confirmed. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced, food stores have been looted. Without sufficient humanitarian assistance, child malnutrition will rise beyond the already alarming levels, leading to increased risk of mortality among a vulnerable population.
The UN says that around 400,000 people are living in famine conditions in Tigray, where fighting between rebellious regional and federal forces has continued since November. Spokespeople for the Prime Minister and a government task force on Tigray did not immediately respond to requests for comment on UNICEF's statement. Doctors in 2 hospitals in the region said they saw between 4 to 10 severely malnourished children monthly before the conflict erupted. Now, those numbers have more than doubled. At least 3 children have died in Wukro Hospital since February, according to one nurse. The UN says that Tigray needs 100 trucks of food daily to prevent mass starvation. Only 50 trucks have gotten through in the past month.
That was Soraya Ali of Reuters reporting. At least 41 people in Mali are dead following a road crash Tuesday in the south-central region of the country. The Transport Ministry says a truck carrying market workers and goods collided with a passenger bus. The front section of the bus was ripped off by the force of the crash and debris was scattered across the road. State broadcaster ORTM reported that the truck's driver lost control after a tire burst. The crash happened 12 miles away from the town of Segou. Representatives of the Sudanese government, its security forces, and the United Nations mission in South Sudan met in Juba to jointly address challenges faced by peacekeepers and humanitarian agencies during efforts to reach people that need protection, food, medical supplies, and other urgent assistance. Africa 54 managing editor Vincent Makori has the story.
Representatives of the Sudanese government, its security forces, and the UN mission in South Sudan, UNMISS, met in Juba to jointly address the country's challenges. South Sudan seceded from Sudan in 2011 and became an independent state. Fighting exploded towards the end of 2013, 2 years later, and according to UN reports, violence is still raging in some areas. Peacekeeping and humanitarian agencies say they need cooperation in order to reach people in need of protection, food, medical supplies, and other urgent assistance. The country's Deputy Foreign Minister Deng Ju welcomed the move.
This workshop is very central for trust building and for us to be able to open a new page in how to coordinate our activities between various institutions of security of our country and the United Nations mission in South Sudan.
UNMISS and the South Sudanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs are now holding monthly meetings, which they say have put more focus on their common goals. Nicholas Haysom is the head of UNMISS.
We are, as a force, much more mobile than we've ever been. Our patrols are going out all over the country to protect civilians wherever they may be threatened. And the level of threat has spread throughout the country, and it's necessary for us to have that access.
The country's leaders gave assurances in early July that they would not lead the country back into war as they marked its 10th year anniversary. Vincent McCory, VOA News.
Kidnappers in Nigeria are demanding a ransom of 1 million naira each to release around 80 children seized from their boarding school in northern Nigeria last month, according to a pastor involved in the negotiations for their release. Neka Chile reports.
Kidnappers in Nigeria are demanding a ransom of 1 million naira each, roughly $2,400 to release around 80 children kidnapped from a boarding school last month, according to a pastor involved in the negotiations. The children were taken from Bethel Baptist High School in Kaduna State. The attack was the 10th mass school kidnapping in northwest Nigeria since December. Kidnappers released 28 children last month, but more than 80 remain in captivity. The pastor Joseph Ahab told Reuters by telephone that 3 students escaped before the 28 were released, but were kidnapped again by an unidentified person in the forest who demanded a ransom and was paid over 1 million naira by parents. Schools have become targets for mass kidnappings in northwest Nigeria. Authorities have attributed the attack to what they call armed bandits seeking ransom payments. Such kidnappings in the country were first carried out by jihadist group Boko Haram, but the tactic has now been adopted by other criminal gangs.
That was Neka Chile of Reuters reporting. According to data from Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics, the housing deficit in the country stood at 17 million units in 2012. But with Nigeria's rising population and urbanization, the deficit in housing is continuing to rise. The country's housing deficit is making the real estate market a natural attraction for developers and investors. But with Nigeria's present struggling economic outlook, most of the investors are currently Nigerians in the diaspora. Samuel Kocha has more from Lagos.
Akimbusola Adishino lives in Canada, but he is currently in Nigeria and visits this site from time to time to monitor the progress of construction work here. He bought 2 units of apartment in this building and plans to rent it out.
I intend to sublet them and put some of them on Airbnb so I can make some residual income.
Akimbusola is one of the many Nigerians in the diaspora investing in the real estate market in Lagos, which has become one of Airbnb's fastest growing markets globally.
It's more lucrative than having a tenant in your unit. So when I heard about the 2-bedroom apartment and with the price and with the location as well, the only concern I had was the road, which I got promised that it was going to be done, which I can see. It's getting done already, so I'm even more impressed.
The quest for modern solutions to Nigeria's housing deficit led Noah Ibrahim in 2018 to set up Novaric Homes and Properties, a real estate development firm providing housing and investment solutions in Lagos. His firm owned the housing project from where Akimbusola bought 2 units of apartments.
So this is one of the hottest things in Lagos right now, short-let apartments, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms, right? You're going to make 150% more than you make on an annual basis.
While investment in short-let homes has been a trend among investors in the real estate market, Noah says the buyer's market has largely come from Nigerians in diaspora.
Since the pandemic, we've seen a high influx of Nigerians, funds from Nigerians in diaspora back into Nigeria to buy, properties or to, establish businesses. So for real estate, right, the buyer's market has been from the diaspora. I can say for one, as much as 70% of the current purchases in real estate in Lagos, Nigeria today is from Nigerians in diaspora.
Nigeria's economy is yet to recover from the oil crash of 2014, and its growing population continues to outpace economic growth. The coronavirus has only made things worse. According to the World Bank, personal incomes are set to fall to their lowest in 4 decades, pushing an additional 11 million people into poverty. At the University of Lagos, Professor Ndubisi Nwokoma is the director of the Center for Economic Policy Analysis and Research. He says Nigeria's struggling economy means Nigerians abroad are currently in a better financial position to invest in the local real estate sector.
Because of the fall in incomes in Nigeria, the prices in that sector are also falling. The prices in the real sector, because there's no money. So the only money that is actually critical is money coming from abroad. So because there's no money, the demand has really gone down. So prices are low. So anybody who is buying, who has money from abroad, will find that it's better for him to buy now before things stabilize in favor of the Nigerian investors.
Meanwhile, with a poor economic outlook, affordable housing will continue to be a major concern in Nigeria. Noah Ibrahim says he is prepared for the challenge.
Novaric will be bringing in the first 3D house printing technology into Nigeria, right? Which means that we'll be able to give people homes, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom bungalows for as low as $5,000 to $7,000 US. And we're going to be partnering with the Nigerian Mortgage Commission to be able to give people access to mortgages, right? So, which means that we're, solving, a very big problem we have currently, which is the housing deficit.
From Lagos, Samuel Okocha reporting for VOA News.
The U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Victoria Nuland, was in Tanzania Wednesday, and in a wide-ranging interview, she spoke about the situation of opposition leader Freeman Mbowe. Mbowe is facing charges related to economic crimes and financing terrorist activities between May and August 2020, following his arrest in the early hours of July 21st during a raid on a hotel in Mwanza, northern Tanzania, along with 11 other Chadema officials and staff. Here's what Nuland had to say.
Fundamentally, that this country deserves and is ripe for a democratic renaissance. The president came in with that aspiration. The opposition also was ready to meet her halfway. Some good initial steps were taken in terms of release of political prisoners, more openness for you all, for the press, the rerun in Pemba, as I said. But now we have the difficult situation of Mr. Mbowe. So that's a test. That's a test both for the government in terms of transparent, expeditious exercise of rule of law, the fair treatment of him as an opposition leader and someone who deserves respect in that context, but also of the opposition. And if, in fact, the president is still willing to talk, can you begin a national dialogue on opening the political space, on pluralism, on the Constitution, if, in fact, over time, some adjustments need to be made? This is difficult for us at home. You see how hard political dialogue has been on our side. You see how hard President Biden is working to ensure that his infrastructure spending is passed in a bipartisan way in the Senate, and the House. All democracies need to prove that democracy delivers, and that we can do this together. My sense is that there are patriots on all sides of this question in Tanzania, and we really hope that you don't miss this moment and can have that democratic renaissance that you and your people deserve. Thank you, everybody.
That was Victoria Nuland, the U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, speaking Wednesday from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Let us know what you think about Africa 54. Join the discussion on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our broadcast live on Facebook. Please watch and share our show with your friends. Also check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, we'll tell you more about drones that could revolutionize the future of agriculture and search and rescue missions. We'll be right back.
Health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and ask them questions.
How long does the virus stay?
Join me, Linor Moudou, in Washington, every week on Healthy Living, right here on VOA.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, should presidents and prime ministers be investigated for alleged crimes after they leave office? Is this good for democracy? We'll discuss the deadly fallout from the jailing of former South African President Jacob Zuma. Our panel will look at countries that have done it, like France and Israel, as well as those grappling with that question. Join me, Heidi Adams, on the next Straight Talk Africa.
Welcome back. Hailed as the most successful piece of civil rights legislation ever passed in the United States, the 1965 Voting Rights Act faces its most serious threat yet. The drive to revolutionize rights for millions of convicted felons has gained momentum in recent years, creating large groups of new voters with the potential to influence the outcome of races in key states such as Florida, Iowa, and Kentucky. VOA's congressional correspondent Catherine Gibson reports from Washington, D.C., one of just 3 places in the United States where currently serving felons can participate in the democratic process.
A familiar face in his neighborhood of Southeast Washington, D.C., Corey Knight spends his days helping former felons rebuild their lives. The first step in that process, making sure those felons never lose their say in society.
Again, it's a human right issue. We all are human beings.
In 2020, Washington, D.C. joined Vermont and Maine as the only places in the U.S. where felons currently serving time behind bars have the right to vote. Knight, who led the voting rights restoration effort, says it's particularly important for people of color.
So the power of vote, which we see is in numbers, right? And that's what intimidates people, right? Because of people of color. There's a whole lot of us incarcerated. And so one of us, if all of us get together and vote, it's going to, it kind of intimidates people. So they're trying to close our mouth.
Opponents say currently serving felons have given up their say in how society runs.
Individuals who are convicted of serious crimes and who are serving time in prison have shown that they are not willing to abide by the rules and laws that we have set up as a society. So why would you give them the ability through voting to decide what those rules and regulations are, ones that they say they're not going to abide by?
Most opponents acknowledge felons should have their rights restored once they serve their sentences and pay back fines. The current process in 27 states. But the process was anything but simple in Florida, where only a small fraction of the 2 million former felons could determine what they owed so they could pay their fines in order to vote.
As offensive as it was to me what the state was trying to do in terms of restrict the right to vote, what troubled me even more was that the state was unable to provide former felons an accurate answer as to how much they actually owed in terms of these fines, fees, court costs, and restitution.
Sukhatmi co-created Free Our Vote to provide felons with a database to learn how much they owed the state, providing 20,000 former felons with the ability to vote in the 2020 election in Florida. Back in D.C., Knight is working to restore rights in states with even bigger populations, New York and California.
We definitely want to assist in every way to make sure that we can help people of color have a voice and have their human rights back.
In the past 2 decades, half of U.S. states have changed felon voting laws, but more than 5 million ex-felons are still barred nationwide from voting. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Washington.
Africa has a unique opportunity to develop its competitiveness through artificial intelligence, according to a report released recently by International Research Center for AI under the auspices of UNESCO. In Tunisia, FabSkill, a Tunis-based artificial intelligence startup using AI to recruit new talent for companies worldwide, gives traditional web recruitment platforms a run for their money. Africa 54 technology correspondent Paul Ndiho spoke to Bashir Afifi, CEO of FabSkill.
Bashir Afifi, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
You have created a company that is trying to change how recruitment for talent is done in Africa, especially in Tunisia, where you are. Let's start there.
We are using artificial intelligence, but also we are using video so that we make the recruitment process more smooth. You know, here in Tunis and generally in Africa, we have a lot of problem when it comes to recruitment, a lot of person trying to find jobs, but also on the other side, a lot of recruiters saying that they are not able to find the good profiles.
How did you come up with the idea?
We saw a problem and we said that if we bring tech to it, if we bring artificial intelligence and we bring the video that can resolve issues like mobility or availability of the candidates, we can bring something good, really good for us as a business, but also for our country.
It's fascinating to see this thing working in real life. How has the response been from the users?
Every new technologies, there is sometimes a little of fear when it's something new, but from the both sides, from the users, the candidates, but also from the recruiters, you know, when you talk to a recruiter and say that you are bringing artificial intelligence, the first thing that came to their minds is that this man is bringing something that gonna steal my job. Yeah, but we had a lot of discussion with them, explaining that's only a tool that's gonna help them to make the right decision, but it's also a tool that's gonna speed the process, that gonna help them to spend less effort on the recruitment process.
In Tunisia, where you are, people still want to see the actual CV or the actual resume. They want to talk to the person to person.
That's exact. That's right. But also there is some cases where like what we are doing right now, when there is some problem of mobility, you know, when the persons are a little bit far from the job where the job is located, it becomes easier so that they can access and have the same chances as the other persons who are, you know, here in Tunis we have a problem of centralization of jobs. A lot of jobs are in the capitals, and a lot of persons are in other regions, and it makes them a little bit. It makes those jobs inaccessible for them.
When you talk about artificial intelligence, a lot of people would say that this is for big companies, not the small mom and pop shops, the startups that are coming up. So who are you targeting?
Here in Tunis, we have, as customers, we have 2 telco companies. We have a lot of leading banks as customers, but startups are they don't have like big HR teams, so that they are interested in these tools as it boosts and accelerates their recruitment process.
Going back to artificial intelligence, that's your bread and butter. How does it work? A lot of people have no clue what artificial intelligence or AI is.
We use scoring models that based on skills, qualification of the candidate, based on his experience, history, the jobs, and even the internship, the education and diploma. We try in a way to understand what's written in his resume and make this data readable for our systems.
A lot of people lie on their resumes or on their CVs. So how do you catch that?
That's a good question. I'm going to tell you about the first part. When for us, when a candidate creates his own digital profile, like he fills some forms about his education, about. On the other hand, we have also some technical, some assessment tools, some technical tests and technical quiz, so that we help the recruiter. And the other side, for the recruiter, he has the ability to send during the recruitment process any technical tests, so that he can make the assessment of the candidate.
Thank you so much for your time, Bashir.
Thank you very much.
That was Africa 54 Tech correspondent Paul Diho speaking to Bashir Afifi, the CEO of FabSkill. Small self-navigating drones designed to think and move like bees could revolutionize the future of agriculture, search and rescue missions, and more. VOA's Julie Tabo gives us an exclusive look behind the scenes.
Small autonomous drones that can fly and navigate like bees are the vision of the future for a team of researchers at the University of Maryland.
They are very small flying mechanisms that are equipped with cameras, sensors, and computer, and they are able to perceive the world, think about it, make decisions, and act accordingly.
Yeah, I think we should make the drone a little bit smaller.
Soon, these self-navigating drones will be able to help pollinate flowers or work in environments that are dangerous for humans.
When this technology reaches the market, it will be very useful for dealing with search and rescue operations in terms of earthquakes, with inspections of bridges, with agriculture.
The drones are not controlled by a human with a joystick, but instead they use computer vision to see obstacles in their path and artificial intelligence to determine the best way around or through them. They've been designed to mimic the behavior of birds and bees, to move and navigate through small openings. And they'll be launched in the field from a larger drone designed like a beehive to perform a multitude of tasks.
These drones open up a world of possibilities, because if you want to deploy 1,000 drones which are large, you want 1,000 operators, right? With these smaller ones, you just have a big drone and it carries 1,000 of these and goes to a point and it will just deploy it automatically.
The bee drones can travel more than 6 kilometers round trip. And while there are concerns about the potential misuse of these little machines, for now, the team is focusing on all the good they can be capable of. Julie Tabo, VOA News.
And thank you for watching Africa 54. Good night.